Serbia just positioned itself to buy a weapon system that only 3 countries on Earth operate. A missile defense shield that intercepts ballistic missiles outside the atmosphere, at the edge of space. The Arrow 3 system costs $4 million per interceptor. Germany just paid $6.5 billion for it. If Serbia gets this, they become the only non-NATO country in Europe capable of shooting down some ballistic missile classes at the edge of space. That doesn't just defend cities, it rewrites the strategic map of the Balkans. Quick recap for new viewers. Serbia's Frankenstein military isn't just buying from everyone. It's French Rafales, Chinese FK-3, Israeli PULS, 3 incompatible ecosystems, and Serbia forcing them to work together through a sovereign command layer. This video is the next chapter. Rumored upgrades, real constraints, and what happens in real scenarios. By the end of this video, you'll understand how Serbia weaponized supplier diversity, and why the Arrow 3 story might be the most dangerous piece of this puzzle. Subscribe to Nations in Minutes, and let's get started. December 31st, 2025. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić teases a multi-billion euro arms deal. He won't say what it is, he won't say who's selling, but he promises it will make Serbia's air defense among the best in Europe. 3 days earlier, Germany received its first Arrow 3 battery, a $6.5 billion deal with Israel, the largest Israeli defense export in history. Arrow 3 is the world's most exclusive air defense system. Only 3 countries operate it: Israel, the United States, and now Germany. It intercepts ballistic missiles outside the atmosphere, not at 10 kilometers altitude, not at 30 kilometers, at 100 kilometers, in space. The system uses hit-to-kill technology, no explosives. The interceptor physically rams the incoming missile at hypersonic speed, Mach 9, and destroys it through kinetic energy. The interceptor can maneuver in space. It carries no warhead, just a guidance system and thrusters that allow it to change trajectory mid-flight to hit a target moving at 3 kilometers per second. According to the chairman of the Israeli Space Agency, Arrow 3 can double as an anti-satellite weapon. That makes Israel one of only a handful of countries capable of destroying orbiting satellites. Germany needed US approval to buy this system. Every Arrow 3 sale requires Washington's explicit permission because the tech was jointly developed by Israel and the US Missile Defense Agency. Now here's the twist. At the time of this video, Israel Aerospace Industries and the Ministry of Defense are already in talks with several countries regarding possible export of the Arrow 3 air defense system, with negotiations taking place simultaneously between Israel and countries in Europe and other parts of the world. If Serbia is one of those countries, and Vučić's December 31st announcement suggests they might be, it means Washington quietly approved a backdoor alliance between Belgrade, Jerusalem, and the United States that completely bypasses NATO's standard European security architecture. Think about what that means. Serbia isn't in NATO. Serbia maintains diplomatic ties with Russia. Serbia refused to join EU sanctions against Moscow. Yet Serbia might be positioning itself to acquire a missile defense system that only NATO's inner circle is allowed to even ask for. If confirmed, Serbia becomes the only non-NATO nation in Europe capable of intercepting long-range ballistic missiles at altitudes where the atmosphere barely exists. That kind of capability doesn't just defend cities. It changes how every neighbor calculates risk. It changes how Russia calculates intervention. It changes how NATO calculates influence. Remember from the last video, Serbia operates French Rafale jets, Chinese FK-3 missiles, and Israeli PULS rockets. 3 incompatible military ecosystems. Most countries would just operate these separately. Serbia forced them to communicate. They're using a domestically developed C4ISR network, command, control, communications, computers, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. The brain of a modern military. Serbia built their own. When a Serbian Rafale jet detects an incoming threat, That data feeds directly into the Chinese FK3 system. The FK3 calculates an intercept solution while simultaneously alerting Israeli PULS batteries to prepare counter-battery fire. All of this happens in seconds, all encrypted with Serbian protocols, all operating on a sovereign network that neither Washington, Beijing, nor Paris controls directly. There are speculations that United States embeds kill switches in certain exported weapons systems. China does the same. Because the real leverage in modern armies isn't just hardware, it's access, support, spares, software, and networks. Serbia's network sits on top of all of them. They created a domestic command layer that no external power can easily access. Let's imagine a sanctions scenario here. The West imposes sanctions on Serbia over a Kosovo escalation. France says, "We're cutting off Rafale spare parts." China says, "We're restricting FK3 technical support." Israel says, "We're suspending pulse ammunition deliveries." In a normal country, the military grinds to a halt within months. Serbia's response? The Rafales keep flying because Serbia stockpiled parts and trained domestic maintenance crews. The FK3 keeps operating because Serbian engineers already reverse-engineered key components. The Pulse keeps firing because Serbia diversified ammunition suppliers through third countries. And the entire integrated network keeps running because no single supplier can disable it remotely. That's what Frankenstein military actually means. Not just buying from everyone, building a sovereign command layer that makes you impossible to shut off. While everyone speculates about Arrow 3, Serbia has already signed confirmed deals that most people aren't paying attention to. In November 2024, Serbia signed a contract with Israeli weapons producer Elbit Systems for $335 million to acquire artillery systems and drones. Then in August 2025, they signed another $1.6 billion deal with Elbit. That's $2 billion in Israeli weapons in 9 months. The systems include Pulse rocket artillery and Hermes 900 reconnaissance drones. Pulse, precise and universal launching system. It fires Predator Hawk missiles with a 300-kilometer range and 10-meter precision. From Belgrade, that reaches Zagreb. Pristina, most of Bosnia, with accuracy that hits within the size of a small house. But here's what makes this terrifying. The Hermes 900 drone is a male-class UAV. Medium altitude, long endurance. It loiters over target areas for 30-plus hours. It relays real-time coordinates directly to pulse batteries on the ground. Vucic calls this the reconnaissance-and-strike loop. Drone identifies target. Pulse destroys target. Extremely reduced sensor-to-shooter loop. Nearly no delay. It's almost an autonomous kill chain. Now let me show you the technical advantage Serbia just gained. Serbian neighbor and a NATO member, Croatia, bought American HIMARS rocket systems. $390 million deal. Proven in Ukraine. HIMARS has an 84-kilometer range with standard ammunition. Serbia's Pulse fires nearly 4 times farther. But the real difference isn't range. It's autonomy. HIMARS relies on external satellite feeds. NATO intelligence networks. American GPS. If the US decides to cut Croatia's access during a political dispute, HIMARS becomes a very expensive paperweight. Serbia's system is self-contained. The Hermes 900 drone is Serbian-operated. The Pulse rockets are Serbian-controlled. The targeting network is Serbian-built. NATO cannot see inside it. And more importantly, NATO cannot shut it off. So what does this force actually do? Here are the 3 realistic paths Serbia is building for, each with conditions and indicators you can watch. Let me show you a nightmare scenario. Imagine a border incident between Serbia and Kosovo escalates. Kosovo requests NATO intervention under existing agreements. NATO airstrikes begin targeting Serbian command centers. Serbia responds by using Hermes 900 drones to identify NATO staging areas in Albania and Croatia. Pulse batteries fire precision strikes at those locations before NATO aircraft even take off. The strikes hit within 10 meters, destroy fuel depots, ammunition storage, runway infrastructure. NATO has to choose: escalate to full-scale war with a country that can strike deep into member territory, or negotiate. That's not science fiction. That's the capability Serbia purchased for $335 million. While buying Israeli strike capabilities, Serbia deployed something else in 2022. The FK-3 air defense system, China's export version of the HQ-22. 6 batteries, fully operational. Range, 100 kilometers. Target speed, 1,000 meters per second. That's Mach 3. The FK-3 can engage 6 aerial threats simultaneously: aircraft, cruise missiles, drones, air-to-ground missiles. It includes advanced anti-jamming tech and can intercept missiles specifically designed to destroy tracking radars. Serbia is the only European country operating this system, not just outside NATO. The only European country, period. April 2020. Chinese Y-20 transport planes land in Belgrade. Crews unload the systems. Largest ever airlift delivery of Chinese arms to Europe. Serbian crews trained in China for months. No Russian advisors, no Chinese technicians on site. Serbia now maintains and operates the FK-3 entirely independently. This matters because the FK-3 is specifically designed to counter fourth-generation NATO aircraft. Croatia flies F-16S. Both are fourth-generation fighters. Serbia's Chinese air defense network is built to shoot them down. Here's the technical scenario that keeps Croatian defense planners awake. Croatian F-16S take off from Pleso Air Base near Zagreb. They're roughly 45 kilometers from the Serbian border. The moment they're airborne, FK-3 radars are watching. If those F-16 push towards Serbian airspace, the timeline collapses fast. They're inside the FK-3's engagement envelope long before they can even feel safe behind the border. And that's the point. Air denial isn't about shooting constantly. It's about making the risk real. In the worst-case branch, the FK-3 battery engages. Multiple interceptors, Mach 3 class speed. That can leave pilots a very short decision window. Seconds to decide whether to turn away, go low, jam, or break lock. And while nothing is unstoppable, multi-mode guidance and ground support can complicate countermeasures. Chaff, flares, jamming, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But when the defender can layer tracking and guidance, the attacker's margin for error shrinks. That's the asymmetric advantage. Deterrence through a credible air denial threat, built for a fraction of what top-tier missile defense costs. Serbia's FK-3 setup is measured in the hundreds of millions. Germany's Arrow 3 deal was $6.5 billion. Wait. Something doesn't make sense. Serbia is considered pro-Russian. Vučić maintains close ties with Moscow. Serbia refused to join EU sanctions against Russia. Belgrade and Moscow signed a free trade agreement in 2019. So where are the Russian weapons? There aren't any. Serbia operates 0 modern Russian systems. No S-400 air defense, no Iskander missiles, no Su-35 fighters. In 2019, Serbia was negotiating to buy Russian Panzer S-1 air defense systems. The deal collapsed due to US pressure and threat of sanctions. Serbia didn't fight it. They went to China and simply bought the FK-3 instead. Russia offered to sell MiG-29 jets at discount prices. Serbia said no and bought French Rafales. This is because Russian weapons come with Russian influence. You buy S-400 missiles? Russian technicians operate them. Russian advisors train your crews. Moscow has leverage. Serbia looked at that arrangement and walked away. Strategic autonomy means you can't be controlled by Moscow any more than by Washington. Both USA and Russia wants influence, and that's exactly what Serbia won't give them. If a political escalation triggers sanctions, spares, ammo, and support restrictions, in a normal country, the military grinds to a halt within months. Serbia's bet is the opposite. Stockpiles, domestic maintenance, diversified ammo, and an integrated network that keeps running even when suppliers pull back. That's the real Frankenstein advantage, survival under pressure. But why is Serbia doing this? Why now? Last year in March, Albania, Croatia, and Kosovo signed the Joint Declaration on Defense Cooperation in Tirana, Trilateral Defense Pact, joint training, shared procurement, coordinated security responses, Belgrade's immediate reaction, direct threat to Serbian sovereignty. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs called it an open provocation. Vučić was blunt. It is a difficult situation for us, but we have understood their message, and we will protect our country, deter them, and always successfully defend it from any potential aggressor, even this powerful one. Serbia also claimed the pact violated the 1996 Sub-Regional Arms Control Agreement, limiting heavy weapons in former Yugoslavia. Whether that's legally accurate is debatable. What's not debatable is Serbia's response. They doubled down on Israeli and Chinese procurement. France sells Rafales to both Serbia and Croatia. Neutral profit motive, of course. The US won't sell advanced systems to Serbia due to Kosovo tensions and Russia policy. So Serbia went to countries that would sell. The FK-3 is designed to shoot down NATO aircraft. The PULS can strike Croatian and Albanian territory from Serbian soil. It's intentional asymmetric advantage. Serbia isn't trying to win a war here. They can't. They're trying to make war impossible. If Croatia invades, Serbian PULS systems strike Zagreb while FK-3 batteries engage Croatian aircraft. If Kosovo escalates with Albanian support, Serbian drones provide targeting for precision strikes that neither Pristina nor Tirana can stop without direct NATO intervention. And if NATO intervenes directly? Serbia becomes the first conflict where the alliance faces a military using Western, Eastern, and Middle Eastern systems simultaneously under a sovereign command network. No doctrine for that. No training scenario. No playbook. You can't sanction away Serbian capabilities because they bought from everyone. You can't remotely disable Serbian systems because they built their own integration layer. You can't isolate Serbia diplomatically because they maintain relationships with NATO, China, Israel, and Russia simultaneously. And if the Arrow 3 speculations are true, then Serbia also becomes the only non-NATO country in Europe that can shoot down ballistic missiles in space. Belgrade's message is simple. You can destroy us, but the cost will be high enough that you won't. This is exactly what makes Serbia's neighbors nervous, because deterrence only works if the threat is credible. Serbia just made it very, very credible. So if a country of 6.6 million people can build a Frankenstein military that NATO can't easily control by playing every side simultaneously, what does that mean for the future of military alliances? What do you think? Serbia just proved you don't need to be a superpower to be impossible to pressure. If you want to see what happens when a country takes the opposite approach, watch our breakdown on why Finland is so hard to invade. The defense model Russia fears. Because Finland looked at the same problem and came up with an even more terrifying solution. Click right here to watch that next. Subscribe to Nations in Minutes.